everybody. Let's try that again. Hi, everybody. Yeah, that's more like it. So I'm going to invite you all to take a little trip down the memory lane with me, okay? I want you to think about what was your first memory of feeling excitement and jubilance and joy. How old were you? What was happening? And now I want you to think about the first time you thought to yourself, man, there must be something wrong with me. I just don't fit in. Well, for me, both of those experiences happened when I'm about 4 to 5 years old growing up in Germany. I'm an army brat, and we lived in a small German town, and there was a motocross track on the outskirts of town. My parents took my brother and I to the races. There was a part of the track where there was a gully, and most of the riders went down into the gully and came up on the other side. But there were 1 or 2 racers that jumped clear across the gully and passed everybody. Oh, yeah, man. That was cool. I was hooked. That's what I wanted to do. Now, that same year, when my folks asked me what I wanted for Christmas, I told them a cowboy outfit. I had visions of chaps and 6-shooters. I was sorely disappointed when I received a cowgirl outfit with a silly red dress. Even at that young age, it was obvious to me, this pink princess, this was the daughter that my parents wanted. And this is who I am. Coming to a space of love and acceptance of all that I am has been my journey. Now, this tension between the pain of nothing about me being right and the pleasure that I felt riding the motorcycle, that stayed with me most of my life. When I was 8 years old, my father gave my brother and I a mini bike for Christmas. It was green. And when I was 11 years old, I made the honor society at school. And when my dad asked me what I wanted as a reward for my hard work, I said a motorcycle. He bought me a shiny red Honda. And the first thing I did was give half of it to my best friend, my brother. We rode that motorcycle all over the neighborhood. And it wasn't long before my brother began racing motocross. Now, I accepted it when my dad said, motocross isn't for girls, it's too rough. And then we showed up at the races one day and they had a powder puff class for girls. I lapped the entire field and won first place. 2 more powder puff races later, with the exact same result, and my father finally acquiesced and let me start racing against the boys. That was the beginning of a long and successful career racing all over the United States against men. Now, I have a photo here that I think that you guys are going to enjoy. If you look closely, I'm wearing a chest protector. My dad was so proud of me, he painted "It's a Girl" on the front. There weren't too many guys that really appreciated this because I made more than one of them cry. Now, the wonderful life that I had riding the motorcycle, the joy that I felt, that was one side of my life. Almost every other aspect of my life was very different. You see, I was a chubby kid, and boy did I hate when it was time to go shopping back to school because I hated everything in the girls' department. So my mom would take me shopping in the boys' department, and it was really embarrassing to me that I had to wear husky-sized jeans. It didn't help that my name rhymed. Fat Pat, Fat Pat. Man, if I had $1 for every time I heard that. My father seemed to be set on having the perfect children. My brother was too skinny and I was too fat. And even at a young age, I was put on diets and had weekly weigh-ins. If I didn't lose a pound a week, I was put on restriction. And just when I didn't think it could get any worse, it did. Because when I was a teenager, I awakened to my sexuality. Now, the last thing I wanted was to be gay. I wanted to be loved and accepted like everyone else. So I set out to prove to everyone, especially myself, that I was straight. Which is how I wound up at a South Carolina bar, and after 2 drinks went out to a car with a boy for a makeout session. What I didn't know was that he invited 5 of his best friends out, which is when I was sexually assaulted. The shame and the guilt that I felt about that, I thought it was my fault. But I had come to a space where I recognized that I needed to come to terms with who I am, and I needed to move on with my life. I graduated college. I earned a degree in computer management sciences. I launched my career, but I wasn't very happy in the corporate world. So I started my own IT consulting business. The business flourished. By all outward appearances, I looked to be happy and successful. But the truth is, I was miserable. I hated myself, and I hated my life. I was in terrible pain, so much so that I reached out for professional help with therapists and coaches. I will always be grateful for all the help that I got, because there were many layers of that onion that needed to be peeled back. But I want to share with you this very important picture that was drawn with my non-dominant left hand, because this is at the heart of it all. There I am, head bowed, hands tied behind my back, kneeling. I'm living in an old belief jailhouse. What was stunning to me was that not only was I the prisoner, but I was my own jailer. I was the one choosing to believe that I was ugly, that no one wanted to look at me, because my father, when we were growing up, the other thing that my dad did is he came home from work one day. He was self-employed. He had been interviewing for a secretarial position. He told us about a woman who could type 100 words per minute. She could do shorthand. She had tons of experience. When I asked him if he hired her, he said, no. She must have weighed at least 300 pounds. Who wants to look at that all day? So I believed that nobody wanted to look at me, much less love me. And then on top of it, I was an abomination. I worked with therapists. I did tons of healing. And I'll tell you what, I developed quite a skill. So it's not surprising that I myself became a life coach. And it was while I was mentoring a group of mastermind women that I realized that there were lots of other women that, like me, felt that there was something inherently wrong with them. So one day, out of curiosity, I Googled the term, inherently wrong. I wasn't the least bit surprised when multiple pages came back that said, you're a bad seed. There's a permanent and irremovable flaw to who you are. Well, I Googled the term inherently right. What came back were political references to left wing and right wing. And that's when I had a radically ridiculous idea. What if everything about me is inherently right? What if the clothes that I like to wear, that I feel comfortable in, is the clothes that I'm supposed to wear? What if this beautiful, big, strong, healthy body is the perfect body for me? And what if the fact that I love all people, especially women, is exactly who I'm supposed to love? Well, let me tell you what that means to me. I now have amazing friends who love me, who see the best of me, especially when I'm not at my best. I married the most amazing woman. We share a love that I had no idea was possible. The depth, breadth, wonderfulness of it, it gets better every day. I now empower women through off-road motorcycling. I teach lessons and do guided tours. So, remember that little girl that saw the guy jumping across that gully? Yeah, that's me. And you know what? It's every bit as much fun as I thought it was going to be. I retired from my IT career, and I am just living a life. I travel all over the United States, empowering women through off-road motorcycling. I teach lessons, I do guided tours. I'm having a great time. So here's what I would like to ask you. What would your life look like? Who would you be? How would you show up? If you knew, I mean really knew, that everything about you is inherently right. Thank you.